Hello everyone, welcome to this triple imbuement rogue guide. Now this was a build I just found a couple of days ago while messing around with my builds, and I gotta tell you, this build has a lot of potential and you can build it in so many different ways for whatever fits your needs. And it's just a great build overall, and I haven't really seen any triple imbuement rogues like this anywhere yet. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Now let's just get straight into it. Let's get straight into the skill tree first. Starting with 3 points into puncture, we then have 5 points into twisting blades plus 2 item contribution. Advancing twisting blades, we got 3 points sturdy, 3 points siphoning strike. Now the sturdy points you can take out and swap for something more aggressive if you want, especially in world tier 3. This is not really going to be a problem for you. I just need it now because I'm in world tier 4. I also got 3 points in weapon mastery, 1 point, or 3 points, sorry, in dashed in total. This is just helps with the days if you do double dashes. You can also actually put on an imbuement that makes a shadow clone dash, which is really helpful. Again, just a lot of different build variants on this build. So I also have agile, again, because I'm in a higher tier. I need to have my dodge up as much as possible because they pretty much one-shot me if I'm not careful. We then got 3 points into exploit, and you can also put 3 points into malice. If you want to take out the agile points, you can put them into malice instead, because vulnerable damage is just great. Now moving over here, we got 1 point in each imbuement as a core. We got some item contribution here. We got 2 in consuming shadows. You can make this 3, but honestly I don't have that much energy issues here anyways, but you can do that if you feel like you have a little bit too little energy. Blended shadow here, mixed poison here, and mixed cold imbuement here. And then we got 3 points into frigid finesse. Now, this one is bread and butter, and I'm going to show you that because of our current boots that we have. We have the penitent boots. But what's really important here is that cold imbuement skills also makes them vulnerable. So this really helps. We start in cold imbuement always. We go into shadow and then we spam poison. I'm going to explain this later. We got 3 points in debilitating toxins, sorry, deadly venom, and alchemical advantage. Now, this one is not that important. You can have it. I have it there now. We're still experimenting a little bit, but overall this is working great right now. This one, of course, world tier 4, we don't really need it. You can put a point into this from this if you're in world tier 3, so you can put full into deadly venom if you want. Now, going down here, we got 1 adrenaline rush, and then we got 3 in haste. Again, I just want to be a little bit quicker because we don't have dark shroud with the movement speed increase, right? So we want to have some haste. I'm sorry for the noise outside. And then we have momentum. Again, you can mess around with victimize if you want. It can also give you great AoE, but honestly, we have enough AoE already, so we don't really need it. Now, let's just we'll do the Paragon latest, and then we'll go into the item boards now. Now, starting on the items, we got the shared mystery. Now, this is the bread and butter of this build if you just want a lot of CC, because you can perma CC things with this build. And the reason for that is shared mystery in combination with the cold imbuement, and then the penitent greaves just makes up for, you know, just perma freeze, right? Now on top of that, we have more damage against freeze targets, so that's great. So either way, shared mystery. Now don't mind my rolls. I've been testing a lot of builds. These are my lowest rolls just because I want to test them, and then I'll upgrade them now. Once I go in to get ancestral gear and stuff, I'll use my max rolls. So for the coat, we got disobedience, good for armor. On the gloves, we got bursting venoms, and this one is also one of the mandatory things you need here because of our Paragon board, and I'll show you why this is so good, because this means you can spam poison imbuement if you get a crit. Moving on here, we got cheats again, we're perma crowd controlling people, right? So this is just a reduction of 15 to 25% in damage at all times, so this is just amazing. Then we got the unique boots. Now, if you don't have these boots, don't worry. This build is still really good. I got them like only yesterday or something. So this just added on top of my current build. If you don't have them, you can always run with this one instead, where you have a chance to daze enemies when you deal damage to a vulnerable enemy, which then again goes with shared mystery. So this is also just a great combination. Now for the bow, we put our twisting blades, the blade dancer here, just because, you know, it's our main damaging skill, and so we want to have the most efficiency on that. For the amulet, we got the chain of corruption, or the aspect of corruption rather, where you just get increased potency against vulnerable enemies. Now, you don't need to put that on your amulet, you can put it on your sword, and you can just mess around with which one you want to have more damage increase on. For the rings, we got this one, Unstable Imbuements. It's also pretty much a must-have because of the Bursting Venoms. It makes it insanely good, and also it's really important because we can use Cold Imbuement onto the dash into a group of mobs, make them chilled, and then use our Shadow Imbuement with this ring right here, Icy Alchemist. It's amazing. Damaging a shield or frozen enemy with a Shadow Imbued skill has a 75% chance to release an explosion that deals damage and applies chilling to surrounding enemies. So this is just amazing, and it means that you're instantly gonna trigger that explosion once you imbue the dash and you dash into enemies with Cold Imbuement. So really important to have that. Now, going down to the weapons, we got, of course, the Vengeful, because this is just a free 9% crit chance, basically. And we got Accelerating Sword right now, but you can swap out that for something else. Now, one thing I have been testing is I swapped it out for Condemnation. If you have this unique, this also works. And, of course, if you go Condemnation, you swap from Inner Sight to Combo Points. You can use Combo Points even without Condemnation, but you can just test around with Combo Points and Inner Sights. Both are really, really good. Combo Points is a little bit more bursty, I'd say. Just like overall. I guess, no, it's a bit more sustained, but it also has burst whenever you get those 3 combo points. So you get more burst more often than what you do with Inner Sight. So you can mess around with that as well, put on Condemnation. Now for the rings, and for other things that you can use in this build. So one of them is you can use Smiting. Also works because you get increased crowd control duration, and you also deal more crit chance against injured enemies. And most things are going to be injured with this build. But again, you can mess around with what you want to swap this out for. If you just want some more crowd control duration, that's good too, for just more perma-freeze. The other one is Toxic Alchemist. You can put this on for even more poisoning damage, because we actually deal more poison damage to chilled enemies with another helmet that we have. Which is going to be this one. So if you swap out a piece of gear for this one, if you put it on your boots, your chest armor, or your helmet, if you don't want disobedience, for instance, you see here that you deal 25% additional poison damage to frozen enemies. So if you combine that with this one, you're actually going to apply poison to everything that's chilled as well, and you're going to deal even more damage. So this is an option too for even more damage if you want. The other one is, of course, Edgemaster. So as you can see here, we have this critical strike, increased attack speed. This is just something I have for now. I could swap that out with, for instance, Edgemaster, and it would probably be better. So that's a really good swap as well that you can do. Now, going over to the other aspect that you could have is the Shadow Slicer. So we need to go into Codex of Power here, and we should see Shadow Slicer. Now, whenever you cast Dash, a Shadow Clone is spawned at your location that also casts Dash. Now, the thing is, because of our skill on the Dash, the Methodical Dash, right here, you see that Dash slows enemies, and if they're already slow, they will be dazed. Now, this means that if you cast Dash, the Shadow Clone will also cast Dash, and he will daze everybody. Now, because of your shared misery, you're actually gonna spread that daze as well for even more CC. So you see this build has a lot of different ways you can go, and it will just, you can choose how much CC you want. But for now, I'm just testing out this. But if you want to mess around with the dashes and stuff as well, you can do that. Just make sure that you probably always want to have shared misery on. You want to have bursting venoms on. So don't change out these two. And you also want to have imbuement explosions, and you probably want Icy Alchemist as well. Now, if you don't, for instance, have Icy Alchemist, feel free to swap this one out for, you know, for instance, the Shadow Slicer, or even the Toxic Alchemist, anything, right? But there are certain things that you should have. Now, on your boots, you can also probably put the Shadow Slicer. So you can put it on this one instead of, for instance, Share the Days here. You know, you can mess around with it. Either way, let's get over to the Paragon board. Now, my Paragon board is really bad, by the way, because I haven't farmed much Paragon points, as you can see. So that just shows how effective this build is even without Paragon. Now I'm going to mess a little bit more about this, and I'm probably going to be putting on either combat or closer. This one, because it also means I take less reduced damage. But for now, I'm running with the infusion glyph on the first board. And this is where this bursting venom comes in and why it's so important. Because if you see here, you see the additional bonus is that whenever I cast an imbuement skill, it reduces the active cooldown of another random imbuement skill by 0.5 seconds. So our combo will always be to start in Frost, okay? We use Twisting Blades and then we dash through the enemies with Frost. Then we use Shadow Imbuement and then Twisting Blades of Shadow Imbuement, right? Now, after that, after you've used up your Shadow Imbuement, you go into Poison. Now, because of Bursting Venoms, which is this one right here, you see that critical strikes with Poison Imbued skills, right, might trigger a pool of poison, and you can keep casting poison. Because of the Paragon board, with this one, it will actually, with this one right here, it's actually going to keep reducing the cooldowns of your Frost and your Shadow Imbuement, and then you can go again. And this is just why it goes on an infinite loop, like so. Now, the second one I currently have is the Efficacy, just because it gives me more potency, but again, I might swap this out with some crowd control damage or something like that, but I'll update the Paragon board later. So that's basically it for the build, guys. Hopefully you find this interesting. It's a really, really nice build, and I'm going to show you some gameplay of the build in World Tier 4. Some of the clips are from when I'm level 62, some of them are 64, 65. But either way, this build slaps even in World Tier 4, with more resistances and everything. I haven't tested it in Nightmare World Tier 4 yet, because I'm way under leveled for that. But the fact that I can do World Tier 4 content on this build just shows how powerful it is. Now, if you guys have any questions or anything, leave it down in the comments. I will try to help you out. If you want to watch this build in action or just have a chat with me, I do play Diablo pretty much daily on stream if you go to twitch.tv/TheFlyingJuiceman. So head over there, have a chat, ask me any questions about the build or ask in the comment section here, and I'll try to get back to you guys. Now, enjoy the gameplay. So in this clip right here, we can see the combo of the Frost into the Shadow, and we're just going to annihilate all of the enemies. Frost into Shadow into Poison, and it's just going to explode everything because everything is frozen.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I need more time. I need more time. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.